Imagine standing alone in a forest, the wind whispering through ancient trees, and feeling the pulse of a knowledge that has been hidden for millennia, secrets that let you survive without a single modern tool. If that sparks a fire inside you, smash that like button right now and let's ignite this adventure together. I'm a modern-day bushcraft researcher who has spent 10 years trekking across continents, living with indigenous peoples, and digging through forgotten manuscripts to bring the old ways back to life. Most survival videos teach you how to cope with a lost backpack or a broken compass, but they rarely ask what you would do if every piece of gear vanished and you needed to blend into the wild, unseen, relying only on what the earth offers. In the next 23 minutes, you'll learn how to build a shelter that disappears into the forest, how to summon fire without matches, how to shape tools from stone and wood, how to read the hidden language of the woods, and finally how to put every skill to the test under a night sky. Let's travel back 10,000 years and bring those forgotten skills into today's world. The first skill is the art of invisible shelters. The first step is choosing the right site. Look for a natural dip in the terrain that offers protection from wind, a nearby water source that's not directly on the edge of a floodplain, and a spot where the sun rises behind a ridge to keep the interior warm in the morning. Imagine a scent mask map overlay in your mind, where you can see the flow of air and the paths of animals, and pick a place that hides your presence from both predators and curious eyes. Next, hunt for materials that blend perfectly with the surroundings. Fallen branches with bark still intact become the frame, while moss, lichen, and leaf litter become the skin. Walk the forest floor and feel the texture of each piece. The softer the moss, the better it will cling to the structure and mute any sound you make. Gather a handful of flexible saplings, a few sturdy sticks, and a bundle of dry leaves that have not yet turned brown. Now comes the construction. Lay the saplings in a simple linto shape, angling them against a sturdy trunk so the roof slopes away from the wind. No nails, no rope, just the natural tension of the wood. Weave the smaller twigs through the frame like a basket, creating a lattice that will hold the moss in place. As you build, think of the shelter as an extension of the forest itself, not an intrusion. The final touch is camouflage. Press the moss and lichen onto the exterior, pressing gently so the roots interlock with the twigs. Sprinkle a thin layer of leaf litter over the roof, and then lightly mist the whole structure with water from a nearby stream. The damp leaves release a faint scent that masks any human odor, making the shelter virtually invisible to both animal and human noses. Now you have a hideout that even a keen predator would overlook. Which part of this shelter would you try first? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing which techniques resonate most with you. With a hidden shelter secured, the next challenge is mastering fire the way our ancestors did. First, understand the fire triangle: heat, fuel, and oxygen. Friction creates heat, but you need the right tinder hierarchy to catch that spark. Start with a fine, dry tinder bundle. Think of dry grass, birch bark, or shredded inner bark. Then add a layer of larger kindling, and finally a stack of seasoned wood for a lasting flame. The bow drill is the most reliable method when you have flexible wood. Carve a spindle from a straight, dry branch, shape a hearthboard with a small depression, and fashion a bow from a sturdy sapling with a cord of rawhide or plant fibers. Place the spindle in the hearthboard, wrap the bow around it, and apply steady pressure while pulling the bow back and forth. Watch the dust gather, then feel the sudden pop of an ember. Transfer that ember onto your tinder bundle. Gently blow and watch the flame rise. When a bow isn't available, perhaps the wood is too brittle, you can fall back on the handrail. It requires more patience, but the principle is the same. Spin a straight spindle between your palms, pressing down into a shallow notch on a fireboard. The friction builds heat, and after a few minutes of rhythmic motion, a small ember appears. Patience is key. The handrail teaches you to respect the slow, deliberate work of fire making. If both friction methods fail, there's still hope with a simple fire steel technique. Strike a piece of high-carbon steel against a flint stone, creating sparks that land on a prepared tinder bundle. The sparks are tiny, but with the right tinder they ignite instantly. This method was a game-changer for early humans, allowing them to start fires even in damp conditions. Now you have 3 ways to summon fire: the bow drill, the hand drill, and the fire steel. Each method teaches you resilience, patience, and a deep connection to the elements. If this is blowing your mind, hit that subscribe button and let's keep exploring together, because the journey into ancient bushcraft has only just begun. Now we turn our attention to the tools that our ancestors fashioned from the very earth beneath their feet, tools that turned simple branches and stones into extensions of the hand, capable of hunting, carving, and shaping the world around them. Imagine holding a spear that has never known steel, yet pierces with the precision of a modern hunting rifle, or a scraper that smooths bark and hides with the same ease as a polished metal file. The secret lies in understanding the natural properties of the materials and the simple yet ingenious techniques that have been passed down through countless generations. First, let us gather the raw ingredients. Look for straight, sturdy saplings that have fallen naturally, avoiding those that show signs of rot or disease. The ideal wood for a shaft is dense yet flexible, allowing it to bend slightly under pressure without snapping. For the arrowheads, seek out flint, chert, or even quartz, stones that fracture conchoidally, producing sharp edges when struck correctly. If those are scarce, hardened pieces of bone or antler can serve as effective points, especially when shaped with a stone rasp. Begin by selecting a sapling that is roughly the length of a grown adult's arm, a size that provides both reach and maneuverability. Strip away the bark carefully, preserving the outer layer for later use as a natural camouflage. Using a sharp stone, carve a notch near one end of the shaft. This will become the nock where the bowstring sits. If you lack a bowstring, you can fashion a cord from the inner bark of flexible trees, twisting it tightly until it gains sufficient tensile strength. The process of twisting the bark not only creates a strong line, but also imbues it with a natural resin that helps it hold together under tension. Next, shape the arrowhead. Place the chosen stone on a hard surface and strike it with a hammerstone at a precise angle, encouraging a flake to break away. The goal is to produce a thin, sharp edge that tapers to a point. Once you have a suitable fragment, use a smaller stone to grind the edges, refining the shape and removing any jagged irregularities. This grinding process also creates a slight bevel, allowing the arrowhead to slice through flesh and hide with minimal resistance. With the shaft and head prepared, attach the point. Carve a shallow groove near the tip of the shaft, just deep enough to hold the base of the stone securely. Apply a natural adhesive made from pine resin mixed with charcoal powder. This mixture not only binds the stone firmly, but also adds a layer of waterproofing, protecting the joint from moisture. Press the arrowhead into the groove, ensuring it sits flush with the shaft. Then allow the resin to set while you continue working on the remaining components. Now, let us craft a simple yet effective scraper. Find a flat, smooth stone, preferably one that has been weathered by the elements, as its surface will already be slightly worn. Using a harder stone, chip away at the edges to create a beveled edge, sharpening it to a fine point. The scraper's purpose is to remove bark, clean animal hides, and even carve small notches in wood. To enhance its durability, coat the working edge with a thin layer of animal fat, which acts as a natural lubricant and prevents the stone from chipping during heavy use. The final tool in this suite is a fire steel, a simple piece of high-carbon steel that, when struck against flint, produces a shower of sparks capable of igniting even the dampest tinder. While true steel is a modern invention, ancient peoples discovered that certain iron-rich rocks, when struck against quartz, could generate enough heat to start a fire. To replicate this, locate a piece of meteoric iron or a naturally occurring ironstone and pair it with a sharp flint. The key is to hold the iron at a slight angle, striking it with a swift, glancing motion that shaves off tiny particles, each igniting as it leaves the contact point. Practice this motion repeatedly, and you will soon develop the muscle memory needed to produce a reliable spark on demand. Having assembled these tools, you now possess a portable arsenal that can be carried on your back, ready to be deployed at a moment's notice. The process of making them not only equips you with functional equipment, but also deepens your connection to the environment, teaching you to read the subtle cues of the land and to respect the resources it offers. Which of these tools do you feel most drawn to craft first? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's discuss the challenges and triumphs you anticipate on your own journey of creation. Now that we have shelter, fire, and tools, the next step is to learn how to read the wild, to become fluent in the language of the forest, the meadow, and the mountains. The natural world constantly communicates through signs, each one a piece of a larger puzzle that, when assembled, reveals the hidden rhythms of weather, animal movement, and plant cycles. By attuning your senses to these signals, you can anticipate storms, locate water sources, and track game without leaving a trace. Begin with the plants. Notice the way certain leaves turn upward after a rainstorm, a behavior known as nyctinisty, which indicates that the soil is still moist and that the surrounding area may hold fresh water nearby. Observe the color of the leaves. A deep, vibrant green often signals healthy, well-watered soil, while a yellowing hue can warn of drought conditions. Pay attention to the presence of certain fungi, especially those that grow in clusters near decaying wood. These fungi thrive in damp environments and can point you toward hidden streams or marshy ground. Animal tracks are another vital source of information. Look for the shape of the imprint, the spacing between prints, and the depth of the impression. A set of small, delicate prints with a distinctive five-toed pattern suggests a small mammal such as a rabbit, while larger, more robust prints with claw marks indicate a predator like a wolf or a bear. The direction of the tracks, combined with the angle of the stride, can reveal whether the animal is moving toward a water source, a feeding area, or a den. If you find fresh tracks near a clearing, it may be an ideal spot to set a simple snare using a bent sapling and a length of natural cord. Weather patterns can also be read through subtle cues. The behavior of birds, for instance, often changes before a storm. Flocks may fly lower to the ground, seeking shelter, while certain species become more vocal, issuing warning calls. The shape of clouds offers clues as well. Towering, dark cumulonimbus formations signal an approaching thunderstorm, while thin, high cirrus clouds can indicate a change in wind direction. Feel the air. A sudden drop in temperature or a rise in humidity can precede rain, and the scent of ozone in the atmosphere is a reliable indicator that lightning is imminent. One of the most powerful, yet often overlooked, signs is the sound of the forest itself. In the early morning, the chorus of insects and birds can reveal the health of the ecosystem. A sudden silence, especially in a previously noisy area, may suggest that a predator is nearby, prompting the smaller creatures to hide. Listen for the rustle of leaves. A gentle, rhythmic sway often indicates a light breeze, while a rapid, chaotic flutter can forewarn of a gusty wind that could threaten a shelter's stability. By integrating these observations, you develop a mental map of the environment, allowing you to make informed decisions about where to set camp, when to move, and how to locate resources without relying on modern technology. Have you ever noticed a subtle sign in nature that changed the outcome of an adventure? Share your story in the comments, and let's learn from each other's experiences. Now that you have mastered the fundamentals of shelter, fire, toolmaking, and environmental reading, it is time to put everything together in a real-world test that will challenge your newfound skills under the cover of darkness. Imagine a moonless night deep within a dense forest, the only illumination coming from the faint glow of fireflies and the occasional flicker of distant lightning. This is the scenario we will walk through, step by step, to demonstrate how each element of ancient bushcraft works in harmony. First, select a site that offers natural protection from the wind, perhaps a shallow depression surrounded by a ring of fallen logs. Use the scent masking techniques you learned earlier to conceal your presence, laying down a layer of fresh leaves and moss over any disturbed ground. Build a lintel shelter using the camouflaged method, ensuring that the roof angles away from the prevailing wind to prevent rain from seeping in. As you work, keep an ear out for nocturnal sounds. The hoot of an owl or the rustle of a small mammal can guide you toward a safe spot away from predator pathways. Once the shelter is in place, it is time to start a fire. In the darkness, the friction methods become more challenging, but also more rewarding. Gather a bundle of dry tinder, perhaps the inner bark of a birch tree, which glows faintly under the moonlight. Set up your bow drill, using a flexible sapling for the bow and a smooth, dry spindle. Apply steady pressure and maintain a rhythmic motion, feeling the heat build in the hearth board. When a small ember appears, carefully transfer it to the tinder bundle, shielding it from the wind with a piece of bark. Gently blow and watch as the flame catches, its orange glow dancing against the night sky. If the bow drill proves too difficult in the low light, switch to the hand drill, using the same materials but relying on your own hands to generate the necessary friction. The key is patience. The darkness can make you impatient, but each slow turn brings you closer to success. Should both friction methods fail, reach for your fire steel and flint, striking sparks onto the tinder. The bright sparks will stand out against the dark, making it easier to see where the fire is taking hold. With the fire now burning, you have a source of warmth, light, and a means to cook. Use the fire to dry and treat any game you have harvested, employing the stone scraper to remove hair and flesh, and the sharpened stone to carve thin slices of meat. The heat also helps to sterilize your tools, ensuring they remain effective for the rest of the night. Now, let us test the arrows you have crafted. Choose a target of fallen log or a sturdy branch positioned at a safe distance. Take a moment to steady your breath, aligning the arrow with the natural line of sight, and release. Observe how the arrow flies, noting any wobble or deviation caused by wind or imperfect balance. Adjust the shaft's weight or the point's placement as needed, using the stone rasp to fine-tune the arrowhead's shape. This practice not only hones your aim, but also reinforces the connection between the tool and the hand that wields it. As the night deepens, continue to read the forest's signals. The crackle of the fire may attract curious animals. Listen for the soft patter of paws on leaf litter, indicating the presence of small game. Use your knowledge of tracks to set a simple snare nearby, employing a bent sapling and a length of natural cord to create a loop that will tighten when triggered. Check the snare periodically, ensuring it does not cause unnecessary suffering, and release any non-target animals unharmed. Throughout this nocturnal trial, maintain awareness of your surroundings. The darkness can conceal hazards such as low-hanging branches, hidden pits, or sudden drops. Move deliberately, testing each step with a foot tap before committing your weight. The fire's light will reveal obstacles, but also cast shadows that can be misleading. Trust your senses and proceed with caution. When dawn begins to break, the sky will shift from deep indigo to a pale, amber hue, signaling the end of the night test. Extinguish the fire responsibly, scattering the embers over a wide area of damp earth to prevent accidental reignition. Dismantle the shelter, leaving no trace of your presence, and pack your tools securely. Ready for the next adventure. You have now experienced the full cycle of ancient bushcraft. From selecting a site, building a hidden shelter, mastering fire without modern aids, crafting essential tools from stone and wood, interpreting the language of the wild, and applying all these skills in a realistic nighttime scenario. This holistic approach not only prepares you for survival in the most demanding environments, but also reconnects you with the timeless wisdom of our ancestors. If this journey has sparked a fire within you, consider sharing this video with fellow explorers who crave a deeper understanding of the natural world. Your support helps us continue to uncover and preserve these forgotten techniques. And if you feel inspired to take the next step, perhaps a challenge to build your own invisible shelter, or to master the bow drill, let us know in the comments. We love hearing about your experiences, and will feature some of the most compelling stories in future episodes. Remember, the wilderness is not a place to conquer, but a partner to learn from. Each leaf, each stone, each gust of wind holds a lesson waiting to be discovered. By honoring the knowledge that has been passed down through countless generations, you become part of a lineage of resilient, resourceful humans who thrive in harmony with the land. Thank you for joining us on this expedition into lost bushcraft secrets. Stay curious, stay humble, and keep exploring the wild with respect and reverence. Until the next adventure, may your fires burn bright, your shelters remain unseen, and your spirit remain untamed. The path you have walked today is more than a series of steps. It is a reconnection with a lineage that stretches back beyond the first sparks of fire. When you feel the heat of a flame coaxed from friction, when the shelter you have fashioned blends seamlessly into the forest floor, You are echoing the instincts of hunters and gatherers who survived by listening to the land rather than commanding it. That quiet partnership is the heart of true bushcraft, and it is a skill set that grows richer each time you practice, each time you observe, each time you share what you have learned. Imagine a community of explorers scattered across continents, each one adding a new layer to this ancient knowledge. One person might discover a more efficient way to split a stone for a cutting edge. Another might notice a subtle change in moss color that signals an upcoming storm. And together, those insights become a living library of survival wisdom. Your voice matters in that collective story. When you leave a comment describing the moment you first felt the ember catch, or the challenge you faced while camouflaging a shelter, you are offering a beacon for others who are just beginning their own journey. Those stories become the threads that weave a tapestry of resilience, and they inspire future episodes that dive even deeper into forgotten techniques. Now that you have experienced the full cycle from selecting a site, building a hidden shelter, mastering fire without modern aids, crafting essential tools from stone and wood, interpreting the language of the wild, to testing everything in a realistic nighttime scenario, consider how you will carry this knowledge forward. Will you venture out on a weekend trek and put the bow drill to the test under a canopy of stars? Will you experiment with different natural materials to see which provide the best camouflage in varying seasons? Will you teach a friend the art of reading animal tracks, turning a simple walk into a lesson in ecology? Each of these actions reinforces the skills you have just acquired and deepens your bond with the environment. If the fire of curiosity still burns within you, there are more secrets waiting to be uncovered. In upcoming videos, we will explore the art of natural water purification using only sun and sand, the construction of portable rafts from bundled reeds, and the subtle art of scent masking that allows a human to move through predator territory unnoticed. These topics build upon the foundation you have laid today, and they will expand your toolkit for thriving in the most demanding wilderness. Before we part ways, I want to ask you a question that sits at the core of this practice. What does the wild teach you about yourself? Take a moment to reflect on the patience required to coax a spark, the humility needed to accept that the forest can both shelter and challenge you, and the gratitude that arises when a simple shelter keeps you safe through the night. Share your thoughts in the comments. Your reflections not only help you internalize the lessons, but also guide others who may be wrestling with the same doubts. If this journey resonated with you, consider giving this video a thumbs up. A simple click signals to the algorithm that this kind of content matters, allowing more seekers of ancient wisdom to find the channel. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you won't miss the next expedition into the forgotten arts of survival. Your support fuels the research, the field testing, and the production of each episode, ensuring that these lost techniques continue to surface and inspire. Remember, the wilderness is not a place to conquer but a partner to learn from. Each leaf, each stone, each gust of wind holds a lesson waiting to be discovered. By honoring the knowledge that has been passed down through countless generations, you become part of a lineage of resilient, resourceful humans who thrive in harmony with the land. Thank you for joining us on this expedition into lost bushcraft secrets. Stay curious, stay humble, and keep exploring the wild with respect and reverence. Until the next adventure, may your fires burn bright, your shelters remain unseen, and your spirit remain untamed.